Hello creatures, welcome to Bound by Words. My name is Madie and today we are doing the NaNoWriMo survival tag, and I am very excited to film this video because for some odd reason the process of writing is one of my favorite things about writing and about connecting with other writers. So I love sharing my tips, method, tools, must-haves, and everything with other writers, especially in this season where the writing community is so active. So I was tagged by Allie Ernest, who she is very lovely, and she also holds a bunch of live streams on her channel. This is really good for the NaNoWriMo season, so I'm going to be linking her channel down below. Make sure you check her out. I'm also going to drop a link to the Write Holly Davis channel because Holly Davis created this tag and she dropped it into the writing community for us all to enjoy. So if you want to check out the original or if you want to check out her channel, I'll be leaving that in the description below. So without any more boring talk or discussion or anything, we're going to jump right into the tag questions. There are 8 questions, and the first one is, what are you working on this year? Now, I'm a little bit of a NaNoWriMo purist, just a little bit, but I really like to draft during Nano if at all possible. So the traditional idea behind Nano was to write an entire 50,000 word or more novel in a month. Now, most of the novels I write are more than 50,000 words, and I don't have time to write, honestly, a 70 or 80,000 word novel in a month. I would go crazy. But I do try my hardest to draft whenever I can. There are a lot of writers nowadays who do the rebel route, wherever they revise or edit or they work on like later drafts of their manuscripts, but I lucked out and I'm sort of in an area of my life where I'm working on a project that I have more than 50,000 words to draft, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be drafting it. I'm working on a YA fantasy novel. I loved my premise so much whenever I started writing it, but it is going through a whole rework and replanning and redefining, so if you're interested more in the details of my project, make sure you subscribe because I am posting my Preptober vlog on Monday. My goal is to have all of this solidified this week so that whenever Nano starts, I can really just sit down and get going. There are a lot of things in my old story that I want to keep, but I don't want to give too much away in case it changes. But the focus is YA fantasy novel first draft. That's my process this NaNoWriMo season. So question number 2 is, what apps do you use to write and stay motivated? Now, if we're talking about just phone apps that you're downloading on your phone, I think Spotify, Forest, and YouTube are probably like my big 3, not in any particular order. I'm the kind of person where if I write in dead quiet, I get distracted really easily. So I tend to play pre-made playlists or soundtracks or whatever on Spotify. Usually it's just instrumental music just to have a little bit of background noise. It keeps me focused a lot easier, as well as the Force app, which actually locks your phone. It's a lot of fun. I think a lot of people in the community use it nowadays, but you plant a tree and if you go off of the app, it kills your tree. So it's like an incentive to not play on your phone. So those are the 2 that really keep me focused and help me with writing. The YouTube app is a lot of the motivation, the sharing the community with other creators and talking to people in the comments and having live streams and stuff like that, I think is a huge motivator during the NaNoWriMo season, especially whenever you hit that really hard slump between days like 10 and 20, like right in the middle. Now, if we're talking about applications and softwares across devices, I am a big fan of Scrivener. I think it's one of the best organizational tools when it comes to novel writing, only because it's a very easy way to separate your scenes and also group your chapters where you can read things together or apart. I really do like that quality of it. I do all of my writing, or at least the majority of my writing, in For the Words, which isn't a software, it's a website, but it is a writing RPG game. It is a lot of fun. It's one of my biggest motivators. But I do my writing there, and then I transfer it over to my Scrivener document for organization for whenever I'm attacking draft 2. Now, the downside to these 2 programs and systems is that neither one of them have a page view. So I do tend to go to either Google Docs or Word. Honestly, whichever one I pick is just whatever mood I'm in, and I type there only for the sake that it has a page view, and I feel like I'm getting more done whenever the pages like go past, if that makes sense. But other than that, I don't have any fancy apps or websites or gadgets I use. If you guys have things you really like to use, make sure you let me know in the comments below. I love finding new writing tools. So question number 3 is, where do you like to write and what is your favorite writing spot? Now, this one's a little bit tricky. I feel like I do my best work at my desk. I feel like I'm most focused. I feel like I'm kind of stressed structured because I can sit my drink there. I have this huge pet peeve where like I have to have a drink whenever I'm writing, or I get horribly distracted. I want to get up all the time. So being able to sit at my desk gives me space to have like my drink and my laptop and my mouse and everything. But I do have posture issues, and I also just really like to be comfortable, so I tend to do a lot of writing on my couch. I have a part of my couch, it's called a cuddler, but it's like a deep sitting part where I can actually sit all the way back on my couch and my legs are straight out. So that little area is right by a window that I can open. So having the window open there and blankets and stuff is probably my favorite place to write. I do most of my writing out on my couch, I would say, but I do the best writing at my desk. I also really love cafes, and I know that that's sort of like off the market right now in some areas, but a lot of the cafes in my area have opened back up, so I am planning on writing in cafes during the NaNoWriMo season. But I know I work at a Starbucks and we have very limited seating, so I would feel bad staying there for too long if like they only have 4 tables open, which is what we have open. So I have high hopes for that, but I don't really know how it's gonna turn out. Question number 4 are, what are your writing must-haves? Like I just said, I have to have a drink. Normally when I sit down writing, I have something a little bit fancier or flavored, whether it's like a coffee or an iced drink or like a tea latte, and then I usually also sit a water bottle with me. That way whenever I finish one thing, I don't have the instinct to immediately get up and fill my cup. I have another drink there that'll sort of placate me. Other than that, my writing must-haves are probably just my laptop. My mouse is kind of convenient, but I do sometimes write without it. It's not a huge deal. And every once in a while, if I'm in a stage where I'm doing brainstorming and planning, maybe I'm putting in foreshadowing, I might want something to write with, like just a little notepad and a pen. I have these little notepads sort of like floating around my office and my writing area just to keep track of things that I want to insert or I need to go back and move around. I don't often need this, so I don't know if it would be a must-have. But my laptop is really like, I can write almost anywhere with my laptop and a drink. So question number 5 is, what are your favorite drinks and snacks to have? So London Fog by far is my favorite drink ever. It is a tea latte made with Earl Grey tea that has lavender and vanilla in it. So usually it's like tea sweetened with vanilla and then steamed milk. So good. I like mine with honey. It's pretty much magical. I just in the last few years started drinking coffee, and I really like blended like iced coffee beverages. So that's probably like my second favorite, but I do get cold very easily, so a hot London Fog definitely trumps that. Whenever it comes to writing snacks, I really don't like to eat anything that's gonna get any kind of grease, oil, or crumbs on my hands because I really love my laptop. It was expensive and it's fancy, and it's so comfortable to write on. I hate the idea of getting it dirty. So I try to stick with things that have no residue. Things like grapes I think are great writing snacks. A lot of the times if I'm feeling like I really have to have something in my mouth, I'll do hard candy. Other than that, if I want to eat, I will take a break unless I'm really confident whatever I'm snacking on won't get anything in my writing area. But question number 6 is, what are your favorite writing distractions? And I feel like that's such a hard thing to answer because almost everything seems to be a distraction, so picking out your favorites is kind of funny. Like, not a lot of people ask you that. So I think my pets would probably want, I have 4 cats. They're all very lovely. They all need attention constantly, so I can stop and play with them at any given time. I also really like YouTube and Instagram as distractions because, like I said earlier, I should have included Instagram in my apps that I use, but like I said earlier, YouTube is a great like motivator when it comes to writing and milestones and celebrating, and I think Instagram is very similar to that. So Instagram is for like short breaks where I'm just scrolling through a couple pictures, looking at a couple people's stories, or sharing what I have done, and then YouTube is for longer breaks. Like if I'm taking a meal break, I can sit and actually watch videos of people talking, which I think is really immersive. Like if you're taking a writing break and you're watching writing videos, that's pretty focused still. So if we're talking about total writing breaks, not doing anything writing related, I really like to read, but if my eyes are tired from the computer, or if I really just need to step away from writing, TV shows, Netflix, making food, eating food, anything like that, those are great breaks from writing. Which brings us to question number 7, which is, what are your favorite ways to get on track? Now, this is gonna sound definitely toxic, totally hazardous, but one of my favorite ways to get back on track is to have an all-day writing day. A day when I'm off work, where I get up and I do nothing, but I write. I write off and on all day. I might write 500 words and take a break, write another 1,000 words, take a break. Just do loose little things like that throughout the day, but have a whole day where I don't really expect much else from myself than writing. I feel like I can get a lot done in sort of a short period of time, if that makes sense. But that's also low stress. Like if I'm doing it throughout the day, I don't feel super like stressed to meet a certain number by a certain time. I usually do something like this the first day of Nano or the second day, depending on what my work schedule is, where I carve out almost an entire day or an entire day and I just write at my leisure. I think this is a great way to get caught up because I'm not worried about adulting and I'm not worried about any other responsibility. I'm sort of just living in my novel, which is nice. But I want to say live streams. Like a part of me in the back of my head wants to say live streams are a great way to get caught up because you do sprinting and stuff. But in my experience, doing a live stream is more of a community task than it is a super productive task. So I tend to focus a lot on live streams and I really like them. But a lot of the people that I like watching the most, there's more talk, or at least just as much talk as there is writing going on. So those are more of a community aspect, and really just solitude is my best way to catch up, just canceling all my plans and focusing. So we're on to question number 8, which is actually our last question, and this one's a little bit tricky for me. It is, what are your favorite writing milestones or rewards? And the reason it's tricky is because I don't usually give myself rewards for individual milestones. It's not something that I find that really motivates me. I do usually give myself a reward every year that I participate in Nano, but like up front, which is kind of like a backwards way to do it. I do something to treat myself for taking on the challenge and doing the mental stress. Last year, this was a small like milk pitcher I got off Amazon. It was only $20. It was probably the best purchase that I had made at the time, but it does latte milk and cappuccino milk. So those London Fogs that I love, it would heat the milk up for that in less than a minute. That was my splurge reward thing for taking on the challenge of NaNoWriMo. This year, I'm getting myself a whiteboard, something I've wanted for a while from my novel planning and preparation. So I'm getting it before NaNoWriMo begins. That way I can organize all of my thoughts on it in advance. I do like to celebrate milestones, and I do sometimes give myself little rewards for those, but it's more of a mood-based thing. So for example, if I am at word 38,000 whenever I wake up in the morning and I want to hit 40,000 and I want to do something to celebrate 40,000, it's going to be whatever I'm in the mood to do that day whenever I hit 40,000. Am I craving ice cream? I'll go out and get ice cream. Do I really need a day off? Maybe my reward will be an entire day with no writing. So my writing rewards and milestones are very iffy and fluctuating. Sometimes for 5,000 words or 10,000 words, all I'll do is put a post on Instagram, share my progress, feel really good about it. Sometimes for milestones, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna treat myself. So I almost feel like I don't have an answer for that one. I'm sorry, that's kind of a weak way to end. But now question number 9 was actually to tag 3 friends. So I'm gonna tag 3 of my favorite author tubers. The first one's gonna be Brooke from Brooke Writes. She has a great channel. She posts multiple times a week. She's just a really fun personality, and she does live streams at least once a week, sometimes more than that. So she's a great person to follow for the NaNoWriMo season. I'm going to link her channel down below, as well as Sarah Mae Sutton, who also does a lot of live streams, and she's just generally personable. We love her. She grew really fast recently, so if you don't know her name, I would be very surprised, but I'm going to link her down in the description below as well. And my third person is actually going to be Honey. So this is one of my favorite participants in the NaNoWriMo Instagram community. They actually published their first YouTube video this week, so make sure you hit the link to their channel in the description below. Show some love, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We love seeing new writers, and they are such an active member of the YouTube and Instagram community. I was so excited to hear that she started a channel. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. If you are interested in my Preptober planning vlog, then you're going to want to subscribe because I am posting that on Monday. If you need edits or would like to follow me on my Instagram, those links will be in the description below, as well as all the fun authors and author tubers that we talked about in this video. So I will see you then.